Welcome back. This is Rox Revenhart of the Rox Revenhart channel, and I am now doing a topic of shit. I forgot. Hit the record button and forgot what I was gonna say. Psych. Just kidding. Anyway, it all came back to me suddenly. Uh, I wanted to explain my interest in film. I mean, I don't want to right now go through like what my favorite movies are or whatnot, but I think it's I think I can go ahead and say my top favorite movie of all time is definitely The Terminator. I love The Terminator and I love Terminator 2. So I think I should kind of go about that. So, huge fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, huge fan of the Terminator franchise, huge fan of Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and I know there's a lot of hate for Terminator 3, 4, 5, and I believe we're up to 6 now, but I'm not going to go with that. Everybody kind of knows the best Terminators were 1 and 2. I stand by 3 on the account that I liked what they did with 3, but the delivery was just kind of. I mean, I like the TX. She was hot. She had a really cool concept of liquid metal over an endoskeleton. They later did kind of a similar thing in the Dark Fate, but giving a nice villain role to a female character was cool. Um, I like how Terminator played out. Like, I've always wanted to become uh, some role in the Terminator franchise. So if like I ever did make it in acting and they're still casting for like a Terminator film, man, it would be my dream to be able to play some character in the Terminator film franchise. I don't know if I'd get to really try to play like the jacked up Arnold Schwarzenegger T-800 type. I don't think I'm ever going to meet that physically. Um, I don't know, but maybe a surviving character or something like that would be really cool. It's just my favorite film franchise is the Terminator series, and I can't wait for like a film to kind of do it right, to give us a full tie around. I mean, ideally, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk about right here. Ideally, if Rox Revenhart had any say in how the Terminator franchise should kind of come to either an end or at least end the cycle for what we as fans have always kind of wanted, or at least me as a fan have always wanted, was starting, say, a third film following Terminator 2 and, ignoring the rest to some degree, alternate timelines, whatever. But give us that, and it's probably too late for it because actors all getting old and everything, but if it's not too late, I'm just looking for that kind of last film to kind of bring it full circle. With lots of future war type stuff going on, because I mean, we love those little cutscenes in the original 2 and throughout the series. Ugh. I'm getting a little thirsty here, sorry. So, the what I'm talking about with going full circle with it is obviously ending this series where it began. Sending Kyle Reese back in time to stop the T-800 from killing Sarah Connor. That should be how the franchise ends. At least this story arc should be brought for full circle like that. Keep it with Skynet. I'm okay with it, even though they destroyed Skynet. Just somehow work it in where it's still Skynet. I'm not really big on this Legion and Genesis and all this other extra crap they brought along. I, as a fan, have always been a big fan of the using Skynet, and when I brag it up to my buddies and stuff, I mean, when I role play or anything like that, which, speaking of role play, I just discovered that there's a Terminator RPG, Dungeons and Dragons style book and pen and paper tabletop RPG out there. Man, if I could go back to my nerdy days and play some of that with some buddies of mine, I'd love to do that. But getting off topic, back to why I think it Terminator series should go full circle, back to where it began, ending how it began, just to close that kind of whole story arc and time loop and all that. Meanwhile, giving us some kind of delivery of the future war we've all been waiting for, not ignoring the ending events of Terminator 2, maybe giving us that judgment day that Terminator 3 proved was inevitable, So that'd be really cool if they can just kind of give us that Judgment Day that brought it all, the inevitable Judgment Day doom. I mean, that was some of the best parts of Terminator 3 was the inevitable Judgment Day scene at the end. How that movie ended is all you need, about 20 minutes or less into a new movie that, covers that, you know, something like that. Terminator 4 with Salvation was beautiful, kinda. It still dropped the ball to some degree. I still enjoyed it as a movie, and let me explain, as a fan, I've enjoyed all of them. I'm not one of those asshole fans out there that are just like, I'm not gonna shit on them all. As a fan, I'm glad they exist. It just they just didn't quite hit their mark. But with Salvation, it gave us some of that future war. But unfortunately, I don't know why they went that route, but they did it like with daytime for most of the scenes, like, in which, daytime exists in the future. I get it. But all the cutscenes in the previous films were like shot at night with the lasers and plasma beams shooting off everywhere. That was cool looking. Why didn't we get that in Salvation? And the army of T-800s backed by their hunter killers, that would have been cool as hell if that's what they did, So just give us that stuff. Even like what the video games did with Salvation, they gave us the spiders and the crawlers. All that stuff was kind of cool, but they didn't fuck with the main story arc. They just kind of give us this other cool stuff. So if they kind of brought that into the Terminator 1 and 2 true 3 adaptation to tie off that trilogy, would be perfect. And then, of course, the adventure through it, because it's always been about horror, chase scene kind of action. Give us some of that. That's cool. But have it mostly set in that future that brings us back to sending Kyle and the T-800 back to the beginning to go kill Sarah. If I had any say, if I could just write this story or do this, that's where I'd go with it. Use this CGI to make our characters, our actors like Arnold, either younger again or, speaking of that, going grandpa or whatever, Pops, and later Carl. I get it, the Terminator ages because, well, our actors age, but we have the technology now to kind of de-age. And these guys aren't dead yet, so maybe we can have a shot at finishing this back where it began. That'd be cool. But if you couldn't, I get it. Do some CG stuff, whatever. I think there's a Netflix animated series coming out soon. I'm looking forward to maybe doing my take on those. So I'd like to see a film, as a huge fan and a way to rest in peace from the franchise, is to see a true full circle film that kind of in the film style of the originals, with maybe, a little more modernization. Doesn't have to get fancy with new kind of badass villain Terminators, hybrid things, whatever. I'm kind of tired of them trying to outdo themselves with that kind of stuff. I just kind of wish we'd get maybe the evil T-800 again and have the John and Sarah try to survive. Maybe without a Terminator. John, Sarah, and Kyle should all have to try to survive without the machine Terminator protecting them. It was simple as that. And have that machine going back in time, trying to kill them all and all that fun stuff. Why not? I'm okay with the T-1000s. I'm okay with some of that hybrid stuff, but I think for this, it should just kind of go back to how it began in that kind of sense. Keeping it simple, not over the top hybrid. Don't have to blow up and kill a lot more. In fact, if you wanted to break it into some kind of series, then break it down smaller, like they're doing with, like, I don't know, the Justice League Snyder Cut stuff. Make it 4 hours. Whatever you got to do, give us the final film for that story arc. And then we can count all these other timeline alternate things and go a different direction. So speaking of that, if I was a Terminator fan, being able to do these Terminator movies, if I became a Terminator director or producer or anything like that, once tying up that franchise of a true trilogy that gives us that full circle story arc that we've all been waiting for, then I'd start progressing with new actors, new stories, new plots, but in this Terminator universe. Skynet universe, I should say. Doing that. Fuck this Legion crap and Genesis and all this other crap. keep it at Skynet, keep it man vs. machine, but new actors, new characters, no longer the John Connor stuff, or Sarah Connor, new family, just like in Star Wars. Get rid of the Skywalkers and move on from that with new, fresh ideas, but in the Skynet Terminator Universe. Simple as that. Hell, make a movie called Skynet and just do different stuff with it. Then you can go ahead and have all kinds of stuff, start whole new trilogies or whatever like that follow that story arc. And I, as a fan, will give you my money. I will pay my ticket to see it. So if someone else is doing it, or if I get to do it someday, that'd be great. But that's what I want. Thanks for watching. This is my weird Terminator rant. I wasn't even planning on doing because I originally had a different idea and I dropped it, fumbled the ball, and now this is what I filmed. Thanks for watching.